Hey guys, welcome back. This is Cam. Today I got some bad news that I want to share with you about my Phalaenopsis, the one that I remove all the medias and just leave it hanging in there. Um, I moved it to this greenhouse here, and humidity was really good. I thought it's gonna do good, but unfortunately, um, some of the leaves has been through cold damages. And so it presented an opportunity for me to do a video and go through what I will be doing with my Phalaenopsis when that happens and how I rescue them. Now, many of you guys know that this year, winters in California is a little too cold for Phalaenopsis to be outdoor. And I remember telling you guys I do not have a setup indoor when I moved to this single house. So all my plants are growing outdoor this year, and my Phalaenopsis do not like the cold this year. I thought it would be doing fine, but unfortunately, they are suffering some cold damages. Let me show you what it looks like. Now you see what I mean? Some of the leaves are falling out because there's some rot and it's been rotted since. And this one looks pretty sad right now. Because of the cold damages, some of the root has been pretty much shriveled and gone. But I'm not too worried about it because as long as there's still green leaves, there's a chance to revive these orchids. This one might be too far gone though, but I'm not sure. I'm just gonna keep it as it and let's see how it's gonna perform. I don't think it's gonna make it because there's a possibility that there's crown rot. So first thing you wanna do when you have this orchid suffering from cold damages or any kind of infections, you can see there's some kind of infection here, which I will have to remove these leaves. Now, this greenhouse here that I set it up, humidity is pretty high. Nighttime humidity can go up to about 100% because I closed the covers here. When I zip it up, it's pretty much an enclosed area. Humidity can go up to 100%. There are some nights I let it out, only close halfway. Humidity is around 50 to 70%, which is really good for these kind of orchids here that I'll be planting in here. The only problem is nighttime temperatures. There are a few nights that it dropped below 38 degrees. And this is what happened to Phalaenopsis if it exposed to temperature below 40s for a long period of time. Now, mind you, I didn't want to stress these orchids out to this point, but a lot of things been happening the last couple of weeks. My mom went through a radiotherapy treatments for the last 2 weeks, and I didn't really have time to attend my orchids that much. They've been growing out here pretty much all by themselves. I water them when I have time to water them. Most of these orchids are doing fine, even if I don't water them for a week or two. The only problem I have is Phalaenopsis here that is actually having some damages that I need to attend. And if you guys notice, this one right here, I still leave it in the original pot. I think because of the cold, it does suffer some kind of rot as well. This leaf is rotted it. Uh, I will deal with it when time comes, but right now I'm just gonna leave it as it, let it do its thing. Um, I don't mind though. So most of my orchids that need high humidities are sitting in this greenhouse right here. So let me go over a couple of methods that I'm gonna be doing with these orchids, and you can quickly revise them as right now temperature has been gone up a little bit warmer. Night temperature is no longer in the below 40s, around 50s, mid 50s now. So it's good. So let's go ahead and clean these babies up, and then I'll show you two different methods I'll be using to recover these orchids today. And let's go over them today, okay? Okay, so let me take you a closer look at the root system and the damages I have in this plant. The roots are pretty much desiccated, it's dried up. Makes sense though, because I just leave it in there for in the greenhouse here. Basically, it just leave off humidities, and when you remove roots that has been in moss for a long time, it doesn't really like it when you have a fluctuation between the moisture. So most of the roots are desiccated. Perfectly fine. What I need to do is remove all these right here. So which makes this pretty much rootless, no roots. Orchids without roots. What should you do? I know a lot of you guys also have this problem. I've seen a lot of posts on Facebook about what to do with their orchids when they lose all the roots. If you are in the same conditions, you must watch this video, because I will show you exactly what you need to do to get this orchid going again. Don't worry, this pruner has been sterilized. So if you guys wondering if it has been sterilized, I did. Okay. So with this one though, there's this leaves here that is yellow. I'm just gonna remove it and just leave it as it. Will I be spraying peroxide? I don't think it is necessary with peroxide, but if you want to spray with hydrogen peroxide, by all means, you could do so. Oops, I think I damaged these two right here, but it's okay. Temperature is warming up, so they will quickly send our roots once the conditions are met, which is temperature and light. I grow outdoors, so light is not a problem. Temperature could be a problem when you go outdoor, because I cannot control what Mother Nature is going to send to me. Okay. If you have an indoor setup, this is perfect, which makes it easier for it to grow indoor. Now, if you look at this, there seems to be a root tip already grown out here. You want to avoid damaging this root tip, okay? Do not damage that root tip. I'm just going to use my trusted pruner here. I know you guys are going to say something, well, you didn't sterilize it between cutting the plants. I know, but remember what I told you. I've grown these by feeding them bacteria anyway. So eventually bacteria will reach an equilibrium state where it's going to pretty much fix themselves in Mother Nature, sort of speaking. This particular one, it might send out a new growth here. You guys can see the purple grow right here. Hopefully you guys can see it. I'm not sure you guys can see it. So hopefully that will send out something for me. Okay, you want to remove as much dead material as possible, because you don't want to spread any more bacteria, especially when you grow indoor. I grow outdoor, so it's noticeably hard to avoid all the bacteria. This leaf here, it's already broken, so I'm just gonna cut where it breaks. This gigantic here, it's rotted it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make a cut through here into the flesh material. Well, I'll be using some kind of what you call this, cinnamon to dry it up. No, not necessarily. Some spot here. There's one rod here. I'm just gonna remove it so that you guys don't need to worry about it. I'm just gonna cut like this. This particular one though still have some pretty good root system on top. Not the best, but something to work with. Most of the root have dried off, so I'm just gonna cut off any dry roots. The root's still green, you wanna leave it alone because the roots still can perform, okay? As long as it's still green, it still can uptake moistures and waters provided to the plant. So you wanna keep those roots if they're still green and firm. If you notice they're wrinkled yellow or it's already dried up, go ahead and remove those materials. They're not going to serve any purposes. They're just going to cause more rot in the long run. Okay. This one is dead as well, so might as well just cut it out. This one right here, this part is dead, yellow, so I'm just going to cut into the green. This one is dead, so is this one. Okay, so I'm left with a few what I call viable roots to work with. Not the greatest, but it's okay. Now, you want to gently remove all the dead material on the bottom here, especially all the leaves that is falling out. You want to remove all that materials. You want to expose to air so that it can dry. You don't want that material to be rotted and cause more headaches for you later. Now, while I go through this, there's a black spot here. A lot of you guys will be concerning about that black spot, and I don't blame you for it. But because the nature of this plant only have a few leaves left, I want to just leave it as it and monitor closely if it spread or not. If it doesn't spread, it's not going to do any harm to the orchids. Remember, I did a video about stressing out the orchids. I guess my comment came true. I did stress this out to a point where I really need to start rescuing these orchids now. You want to clean as much as possible and be generous about cutting out all the dead roots. Don't be afraid, because a new root system will pretty much come out once you provide a suitable environment for them. Okay, so let me go ahead and push all this trash onto the floor here. Keep in mind, I grow them out. I do this outdoors, so if you're gonna do it indoor, make sure you keep it clean. Now, today I'm gonna use two different methods. I ordered some live moss last week, but I didn't have any chance to do anything with them because, like I said, my mom is medically ill, and I don't have time to attend to my orchids or any stuff that I order coming through the mail, especially live plants wise. So this present me an opportunity to go ahead and do this with you. What I'm going to do with some of the live moss, and I'm just going to use some of the live moss to grow these, okay? Because live moss, it has anti-bacteria and antifungal property that can actually help the orchid, especially in this sick orchid. If you don't have live moss, it's okay. You can use my other method. Okay, so let me go ahead and get the live moss ready, and then we'll go from there. Alrighty. So what I have here is a bag of live sphagnum moss. They don't look the greatest because the person who sent me packing this bag here, this 1 gallon whatever bags that is here. So these moss, they don't look like the greatest conditions, but it's okay. They will grow, okay, because these are still live materials. I'm fine with it. Okay. There's a lot of debris in here. That's the problem when you order live moss. If you don't like it, remove some of the debris is needed. But okay, let's not worry about these things first. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use a container. This is a container I'll be using. What I need to do is create an environment for these moss to survive in. Okay? So I'm just gonna put some pebble rocks down here. The purpose of the rock is to separate, catches the moisture, the water that's gonna go down. So you have pretty much a semi-hydroponic system here. Um, there's gonna be moisture there. Okay. What I want is you want to have some strainers, or any kind of material that you can use to separate the moss from the rock. In this case, this is fine. That's what I'm gonna do. Okay. Now, because these moss is already coming in with some kind of mediums on the bottom, I don't really need to add anything anymore. I was just gonna add it on top like this and let the moss do its thing. I don't see a lot of live moss here, but a lot of dead material, but it's fine. I'm sure the moss will regrow. If you have a better moss, by all means use it. But this is what I have, and this is what I'm going to use. I'm sure these moss will grow perfectly fine. Like, this is still alive. So these will actually going to repropagate themselves over time. Now you guys know that sphagnum moss has been very expensive nowadays. This is the reason why I order some live ones where I can start growing them and start using it for my orchids. Okay. So what you want to do is you want to place these Phalaenopsis here just on top of the moss. Don't even need to cover them. Just put it on top. Okay. Preferably though, if you have a high container, taller container, use it. I don't have any taller container because the taller the containers, uh, the more humidity you can provide for the orchids. So I will just gonna go ahead and place them like this. I'm just gonna place them like this. Okay. Do I need to water them? Um, I just need to water the moss. I don't need to water the plant itself because the plant's gonna sit in this greenhouse here. It's gonna get the humidity it needs. So this entire system here doesn't need to have water anymore. Okay. So this is all there is. I'm gonna get some water. I'm just gonna water down the moss. The moss needs some drinks anyway. So you want to soak the moss because this is live moss. You can actually soak them pretty good. It's the same concept if you're gonna use dry moss or the moss that you order normally. Okay, so looks like it's taking up a lot of water here. Okay, so hopefully you guys can see the water level. Okay, water just touches the rock right on top of the rock on the bed itself. Okay, I'm just gonna firmly press down a little bit because I want the moss to be able to soak up some water. Given that this is live moss, it is going to provide the moisture in the plant needs. Okay, and plant's gonna grow. In nature, though, that is exactly how orchids grow. They create a symbiotic relationship with the moss, not necessarily sphagnum moss, but any moss on the trees that it finds, and the moss will provide nutrient for it. Okay, so this is one of the methods that I'll be using. Let me go ahead and put this away, and we'll get clean up here, and then we'll start a second method. Okay, so the second method, if you don't have moss, what can you do with orchids are in these conditions? You want to get a container, okay? like so. Okay. If the plant doesn't stay in there, you want to get something to stick in there. I'm going to be doing one semi-water culture and one full water culture. They're going to be sitting in a greenhouse here. Semi-water culture would actually do better than full water culture. But again, they're not going to make that much of a difference anymore once it's in a greenhouse. But for full water culture, you want to fill the water up to around here. I'm going to show you. Okay, so you can see here the water level just touches the base of the crown here. Okay, you don't want to be any higher than that. One of the root or a couple of the roots are in water, which is okay, and that's what you need. The one that could still performs, it's gonna wick up the water, support the plants. The other one, I was just gonna do semi-water culture. Sorry, my terminology here. If you guys haven't noticed, my voice a little bit under the weather. Uh, I've been sick the last couple of weeks. My daughter's sick, and she passed down to me too. So that's what happened. So for semi-water culture, I will let it soak up to the base here. Okay. I know water level is a little higher, but that is okay because the fact that I will be removing the water after 12 hours. You want to do a 12-hour soak and 12-hour dry, which means that the semi-water cultures, it's going to take maybe a longer time to dry because in the greenhouse. Okay. If the humidity is about 70, 80%, I might have to let it dry out for a couple of days because you want to be completely dry before you go ahead and fill the water again. Okay. For full water culture, it's fine. It can sit in the water like this. When the water a little bit cloudy, change it out. Okay. If you grow an outdoor or you grow by a window where there's a lot of light, you might see some algae growing in the water. It is best to change out the water when you see some algae grow. If you do not want to see the green algae covering your cup and look kind of nasty and ugly. And so if that's the case, go ahead and get the container out, get the plant out of the container, clean it, and then refill the water. Semi-water culture, you don't need to worry about it because there is not going to be any algae grow. The fact that it's going to be dry out in between, so there is no algae. But if you do full water culture, there will be some algae, and that's something that you need to address. Okay, so these will go back in my greenhouse here, and hopefully there will be a performer. Okay, let me get this one out as well. So I got two orchids, two different setup, three different setup, full water culture, semi-water culture, and it's just gonna grow in moss here. Now this moss setup, you don't need to cover, okay? Um, the reason for that is if you are going to cover it up, you will expose to a higher chance of getting rot. You want to have air circulation. You just want it to sit on top of the moss, and that's all you're gonna do. Let the plant sit on top of the moss. Don't do anything crazier. Don't need to bury the crown. Don't need to do anything. Just let the crown sit right on top of the moss. Let the moss bring the water up. Water would evaporate. The plant can actually capture itself. Okay, so you don't need to cover it. You're gonna cover it. You want to poke some hole for some air exchange. If you're gonna cover it, you want to create a little mini greenhouse for it. But because I already have a greenhouse back here that can provide about 70% humidity, I don't have to cover it. I don't have to worry about it. But if you want to cover it, you could. But make sure the cover has holes because you don't want 100% humidity in this setup. If you do, you will definitely rot your orchid. I know it's not clear a lot of time when you read online. Uh, just put the plant sitting on top of moss and cover it. Yes, that is exactly what you want to do. You want to provide humidity, but when you cover it, make sure your cover has holes because you want some of the humidity escape. You don't want to have all the humidity packed inside. Okay, and you don't want to bury the crown. okay, or the stems of the orchid, because that's how you get crown rot when you bury them. So just let them sit on top like this will be sufficient enough. So what for water culture, to semi water culture, moss, okay? So there's 3 different methods that you can use if you have orchids that are in this particular conditions. Now I know this leaf is kind of rotted. I will monitor this leaf because I don't want to cut it out. I will monitor it, but right now I'm just gonna leave it like this. I just want to do an experiment to you for you, show it to you guys that oftentimes you don't have to worry about it. It will dry it by itself, and the rot probably not gonna be spreading. If it spread, I'll remove it. But right now, I just want to leave it here. I will update you guys in a few days or a week later, see how they're performing. Okay, guys, thank you for coming. If you like the video, please like, subscribe, share, and hit the bell notification so you don't miss any video that I be posting.